Markets and other public facilities have been reportedly shut down as tension heightens in parts of Abia State. This follows the gruesome murder of 5 military personnel by gunmen suspected to be members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. Reports say that the gunmen, who have been wreaking havoc in the southeast, attacked a military checkpoint at Obikabia Junction, Ogbo Hill in Obingwa local government area on Thursday. The incident, which claimed the lives of 5 soldiers, occurred when members of the proscribed secessionist group were enforcing sit-at-home in the region to mark the 2024 Biafra Heroes Day. Now, for this conversation, we turn to a former DSS director, Mike Ejiofor. He will speak on how to curb killings of military personnel by non-state actors and what are the factors responsible for it. Good to have you on Arise News. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is not the first time, that we are having such attacks. Of course, just recently we had the one that happened in Delta State. That's still very fresh in the minds of Nigerians. I'm just wondering, why do we keep having these attacks on military personnel? What can be done to improve military-civilian relations? And how do we curb, this tragedy, from happening again?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that non-state actors will be attacking our military, which is a sign of our sovereignty, our nationhood, the authority that has been conferred on our security agencies to defend our country. And the reasons are obvious. What they are doing is to make sure they weaken people's confidence in government. And when we talk of non-state actors, you recall that there were so many attacks on our soldiers in Imo State. And I believe also that some progress is being made in the southeast. If my mind can recall, I think there have been less attack in Abia State. Of course, that's the home state of the leader of IPOB, IPOB. And the leader, in his last interview in the court, has dissociated itself from these random attacks and even sit at home. The Ohanese has denounced it, and the Igbo leaders have also denounced these attacks. It's senseless attack because for me, if you say you are agitating for your people and you are at the same time destroying the people, their source of livelihood, they sit down at home, is a contradiction. And that's why I tend to believe that the attacks are not sponsored by IPOB, but these criminal elements that have infiltrated IPOB. What do we do to stop it? First of all, our intelligence agency have been working hard, collaborating with the security agencies to fish out these criminal elements in their hideout. Until this, and I believe there's been a reduction in all these attacks since. But this one is rather quite unfortunate that 5 soldiers lost their life, including other civilians. So I have said times without number that this issue of IPOB is a political problem that requires a political solution. In addition to intensive gathering of intelligence and harnessing of our security agencies to prevent these things from happening by being vigilant and alert, I believe the government should now step in to see if a reprieve can be given to Nnamdi Kanu, maybe conditionally, or to give him something so that he will be able to, at least, because say if he's out, that these things will not be happening. So I think the government should give that a try, a political solution, to see if these criminal elements will not stop what they are doing. I believe they will not hide anything. So 2-pronged approaches on my own part. Political solution, intensive intelligence gathering, and concerted efforts. You also recall that the army has said that they will fish out these people and subject them to the law. I must also commend the army so far in their approach. You know, everybody is denouncing it. And the military should intensify, because my fear in all this is that innocent people will suffer in reprisal attack. And that's why I'm also happy that the governor of Abia State took the initiative to douse this detention, put a bounty on the head of any person who can give, I think, 25 million, awarded scholarship to the families of the dead soldiers. And with this, I think tensions will begin to go down in the southeast. Let us look for political solutions to this problem.
Okay. While we're looking for political solutions to this problem, Ima Powerful, that's his name, talking about IPOB spokesman, has actually come out to denounce and distance his organization from this particular attack. He, in his own words, and I quote, he said, those that are responsible for this attack on the military checkpoint are politicians.
He has a right to his comment. The only area I'm interested in his comment is that this is not the handwork of IPOB. Whether they are politicians, I cannot say. But if they are politicians, what would be their intention of sponsoring people to go and kill soldiers and kill innocent civilians? That part of the statement, I don't seem to agree with you. But you also note that majority of our problems, our security challenges, are politically generated. So he might be right because maybe he has some other information. But for me, I don't have such information. So I cannot speculate that politicians are sponsoring these people. But I believe that these are criminal elements. It's been established. Because IPOB has distanced itself from these attacks. The Ohanese Igbo leaders, the governor, everybody is distancing themselves from this dastardly act. So I don't know whether there are politicians that are actually sponsoring these people.
In the meantime, you know, there are reports that soldiers are on a revenge mission and that they've been arresting and harassing residents. I'm wondering what can be done to de-escalate tension so that we can avert another tragedy or bloodbath, you know, from taking place in Abia State.
Yeah, that's where I started from. I say so far, I think the military has been conducting itself, you know, in a very civilized or civil manner. I have not received reports of casualties, although I saw a report where a Senator Abaribe, alleged that he was harassed, asked to come down and all these things. The revenge or reprisal should not be visited on innocent citizens, but let's concentrate our efforts to see that the culprits are brought to book. I want to commend and encourage the military to continue on its peaceful means of resolving this crisis. Yes, they have vowed that there must be revenge, but it must be on the criminal elements.
All right, there's been reports, I'm glad you've said that you are quite encouraged with the way the military are handling this particular delicate situation, but there are talks that they are under pressure for reprisal actions.
Well, if the reprisal, I said, should be on the criminal elements that are perpetrated, not on the innocent civilians. So I think the military should also be encouraged. We should take them by their words. They are there to protect us. So if at the end of it, because the military was killed, which is condemnable, it should not be visited on innocent citizens because their responsibility is to protect the people. Nobody is supporting the killing of our soldiers. These are the people who have dependents. Government has wasted money, training, involved a lot of resources creating. So if you kill one soldier, the country is losing a lot in terms of training, in terms of livelihood, in terms of dependence. So, but I think the reprisal, the revenge should be visited on the criminal elements.
I'd like us to talk a bit, about the president's reaction. He has described the attacks on the military personnel as treasonable, and he also says those calling for the sit-at-home order, are also committing treason. But then this sit-at-home order is not new. It's been going on for years. How do we stop this totally?
Yeah, that's what I said when we started. This thing has been going on for a very long time. The economy of the Southeast is grinding to a halt. Nothing is moving. Every Monday we lose billions of naira. And like I said, government should intervene to see if actually Nnamdi Kanu is released, whether this will continue. Because he has dissociated himself. He said he's not part of the people asking people to sit at home, because you are depriving them of their means of livelihood. And if you are protecting or agitating for some people, you cannot at the same time exterminate their means of livelihood or make them go extinct. So I think I continue to emphasize that government should need a political solution to the problem in the Southeast.
All right, a political solution, you say, but it's not only Nnamdi Kanu that in time past has found the flames of IPOB, but you and I know that Simon Ekpa, all right, regardless of Nnamdi Kanu trying to bring a little bit of sense into all that has been happening, we've had Simon Ekpa actually fanning the embers and actually probably stoking people to go out there and continue what they've been doing.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Samuel Ekpa is even working with the IPOB. If he's serious, he should come back to Nigeria and begin to ask his people to lead. You cannot, stay outside Nigeria and directing misguided people to be committing heinous crime. I also
Mr.
believe
Ejiofor,
that government should enter.
Permit me to come in here. Yes, a lot of people have said that.
Yes.
We know he's still in Finland, but it doesn't change the fact that he's a voice that several people, especially those in the Southeast, listen to. So saying that he should come, he should come back.
Well,
that's probably not a very, very realistic move, but he's still a voice that people listen to, especially those in the Southeast.
Yeah, it's a voice. It's a voice, if you remember what I said, it's a voice to misguided elements. It's not a voice to reasonable people. But I can be listening to him. Most people cannot be listening. But some of these people who have been brainwashed will be listening to him. But he's there, enjoying himself. I also believe that this time, government should enter into negotiations with the country where he's operating from and see whether he can be repatriated and to enable him face trial. Because what he's doing is worse than what Nnamdi Kanu was doing. So he should be brought back for trial.
So what is the way forward? How do we prevent this from happening again, whereby we have non-state actors attacking our military personnel? How do we stop it, not just in the Southeast, but in all parts of the country?
You see, in all parts of the country, for instance, if I talk of the Southeast, that people should come out to volunteer information, the people are scared. They are afraid. They cannot give out information because these people are living within the same people. So our security agencies should intensify efforts to flush out these elements from their hideouts. And once that is done, because I was watching a video on Arise this morning, where they were parading themselves as if there's no law in the country. So we should deploy more technology to see where they're operating from. And I can tell you on authority that a lot of arrests are being made, especially in Imo State, by the State Security Service, and they don't like going public. I can tell you on authority. And that's why there's a law, there's a decline in the activities of these elements in Imo State. They are now shifting ground to Abia and possibly some fringes of Anambra where they are currently operating. So we need intensified efforts from government and cooperation from the people to see that not only in the southeast for IPOB, for instance, there are pockets of criminality in virtually all parts of the country. You have a kidnapping, mass kidnapping in the northwest, north central. The issue of Boko Haram is dying down in the northeast. The herdsmen, they are also operating in the north central, especially in Benue and part of Delta State. So all these are security challenges that require appropriate action from government and from the people.
All right, so some would say that this is even a hydra-headed problem because some parts of Nigeria are being marginalized or maligned, as the case may be, when you talk about progress, the dividends of democracy, and every other thing that you can actually weave around being a Nigerian. And some would say that's the root cause of some of those problems, that the government at the center has not done enough to ensure that progress and also development is evenly spread, that everyone has that sense of entitlement, everyone has that sense of belonging being in Nigeria, whether you're from the north, south, east, the west, southwest, south, south, northwest, northeast. Do you think the government can begin to change the narrative? Maybe that might fix this problem that runs deep into the roots of Nigeria.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are a lot of agitations in the country, and we need to come and sit down to discuss our problems, especially these agitations. Some people claim marginalization, but there must also, from the government actions seem to be portraying fairness, equity, justice. That's the only way we can be. A lot of people are unemployed. Cost of living is skyrocketing, and people can hardly have, and this leads some people, although it's not justification, into criminality. So government on its part can do certain things. I think during this negotiation for wage increase, government has come out with some measures, but how that can be implemented, if government can pursue it and implement such measures, I think it will reduce some of these tensions that is generating and building up in the country. Besides that, our security architecture is too centralized. I've continued to maintain that, and that's why I'm happy that the government and the state governors are buying into it, that we need to localize our solutions to our local security challenges. It's not what we apply as a solution in the northeast that you are going to apply in the southeast. I'll give you an example. We have the issue of IPOB agitation in the southeast. You cannot use that same solution to tackle the issue of kidnapping and mass kidnapping in the north central or agitation in the... Every problem requires its own local solution. So I believe that government should begin to work towards decentralizing the security architecture by creating state police, although some people will also tell you that it will be abused. They come up easily with this, the issue of state independent electoral commission. And I tell you, these are not different things. The police, the central police, the Nigerian police, will still be there to oversee what they are doing. The crimes will be divided to simple and serious offenses, that some are federal offenses, some are local offenses, and which will be handled at that level. Provision of intelligence by the local police, because they know the terrain, they interact with the people, they don't have language and cultural differences. So they should get this information or intelligence and feed the federal police. So by when you do all these things, the tension will be, but as long as we continue to do the same thing the same way and expect different results, it's not going to work.
Former DSS Director, Mr. Mike Ejiofor, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.